Mr. Allen, 56 Smith Garrison Road. I watched your session last month around. One of your counselors kind of needed some help, and he spoke at the end of the meeting. I got a response, and that was after I needed to talk to my uncle who came up from Arizona 2 weeks ago. I had a week with him. I only get to see him once a year. He got a letter from the president on his nonprofit in Phoenix at the medical hospital, signed by the president, plus a medal. So anyway, I had to talk to him first before I said something. What's possible and what's not possible. Council asked what they could do about Sleepy Hollow. Okay, it was brought to my attention on the 501c3s as Sleepy Hollow, including when he drove down and had a look at it, quick glance, could be considered a club society, and under all definitions of 501c3, and it could be done two ways where they've already a corporation. If they file through New Hampshire, and we had a threefold problem of replacing PI. How do you replace PI? Is there other nonprofits out there by them joining a nonprofit to replace the missing money for the town? Okay, which is a problem right now with PI. Okay, let's break the budget. Yes, it can be done. New Hampshire is like 43 and one of the most expensive. One of the cheapest would be Arizona, where they're already incorporated. They can file in, and there's foundations that will pick up for them because of the work, the housing problem that we have here in New Hampshire can pay for them. Also, if they break down their water system.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Huh?
You have 1 minute remaining. There's a clock right there. If you would like to speak. No problem.
Anyway, it's like I say, it's a 501c3. C3. You can replace it. Councils like to talk to me when we're not such under a crunch and what's going on with problems here. Okay, we can fix that problem, and there are other people stepping in on other problems that are trying to come to Newmarket. I can explain them to you when you let me here. I've already been up to Newmarket Sand and Gravel and talked to the owner there, and certain things are coming to us because of what's being built at Newfields, and it would benefit Newfields and Newmarket, and it's strategic. Okay, so, you know, I prefer to talk to council only on this matter. Okay, and what's going on. So his problem can be fixed. Okay, council's problem with this, and the town won't lose any money. Know how to do it. You know, they're already incorporated. You can move it over to a corporation. In Phoenix, New Hampshire, they're going to get clobbered because our legislators arguing here rules that they've tried to straighten out. Still dealing with PI, we're trapped. I talked about this 14 years ago on PI, not to exceed that 22.5, and we're way beyond that. School, we're up to 75% of our PI, which is, if you're a manager trying to manage this, okay, this doesn't leave much for the other people in the town. Housing's so expensive. I mean, we can even go non-profits for like the police department, fire department, the young members, and start them out in housing. Their board is there. There's money available with the foundations to put, train borders up. There's money sitting there to make it quieter. And if you want to develop to it, you've got land right there. You could develop yourself workforce. We need 62,000.
Thank you, Mr.
houses.
Allen. I will ask you to conclude your remarks, or
Okay, thank you.
thank you so much. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak this evening? Okay. Seeing none, I will close public comment at 7:06. At this time, item number 4 is a public hearing, and I'll open the public hearing at this time on Resolution 2024-2025-2, and that is the acceptance of Briellia Circle and Kilty Drive as town roads. And does the town engineer want to provide any context before the public hearing?
Lindsay Butler, town engineer. The purpose of this resolution and this proposal to accept Briellia Circle and Keelty Drive as town roads is, it was recently brought to DPW's attention that we don't actually, Briellia and Keelty were not accepted as town roads and public rights of way when the development was completed, but the highway department did a final inspection in 2002 when that development was completed and determined that the road was constructed to town standards. The bond was released and the development was completed. It seems that maybe there was just an oversight in the formality of accepting the road, and the highway department has been operating as if it's a town road, public road since then. So we've been performing all of the routine maintenance activities and winter and summer maintenance activities. So this is kind of correcting that oversight and making it more formal.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this or be heard on this resolution? That's good. Okay, so seeing none, I will close the public hearing at 7:09. Okay. Item 5 on the agenda is to consider the acceptance of minutes, and we have one set of minutes this evening, the minutes of July 17th, 2024, regular council meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I will make the motion.
Excellent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Wonderful. Any discussion or changes? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Glazebrook.
Aye.
Council Lamatina.
Aye.
Council Dornblue.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Connolly.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
All right, on to item 6, and that is to consider nominations, appointments, and elections, and we have 3 this evening. The first, we have Sue Ann Bottomley as an alternate member to the Arts, Culture, and Tourism Commission with a term expiring April 2027, and I would accept a motion to approve this appointment.
So move.
I will second.
Thank you, and thank you. Any discussion on Sue Ann? Okay. I did see that the chair of the Arts, Culture, and Tourism Commission did write a nice letter of recommendation. I think she'll be a great addition. Okay. If there's no other discussion, if you could call the roll.
Council Glazebrook.
Aye.
Council Lamatina.
Aye.
Council Dornblue.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Connolly.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, and our next item in this section of the agenda is Eric Hicks' resignation from the Arts, Culture, and Tourism Commission. And at this time, I will accept a motion to approve this resignation with regret.
So moved.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
I will second.
Excellent. Any discussion on this resignation? Councilor Glazebrook.
I had the pleasure of serving with Ed on the commission for some time, and he will be sorely missed. I hope to see him at some of the events. He's expressed interest in still participating when he's able to.
Agree. Thank you so much. Seeing no other discussion, if you could call the roll.
Council Glazebrook.
Aye.
Council Lamatina.
Aye.
Council Dornblue.
Aye.
Counselor White.
Aye.
Counselor Ward.
Aye.
Counselor Conley.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, and our last appointment is Michael Hoffman to the Public Transportation Advisory Committee with a term expiring April 2027. And I would accept a motion at this time to approve that application.
So moved.
Thank you.
And I will second.
Thank you very much. And it looks like Mr. Hoffman might be here this evening. Would you like to say a few words
Yes,
as to sort of,
I just want to personally thank you for creating this committee and to show you that quite dedicated to the social and economic vitality of the downtown as well as traffic safety. So thank you very much.
okay. Excellent. Any discussion on Mr. Hoffman's application? Councilor Lamattina.
Yeah, so, the person of the council is aware. I brought up an issue already with the town manager and the town chair related to the application. On the application, it says you have to be a registered voter and you have to be a U.S. citizen. Mr. Hoffman is not a registered voter in Newmarket. My reading of the RSA, and I'm not a lawyer, is that that particular RSA number applies to applying for a position or to be on the ballot. Okay, it does not necessarily apply to like an advisory committee, to my knowledge. There's another RSA, number 1975.
It has nothing to do with the ballot. There are committees that are statutorily created by the legislature, Conservation Commission, Zoning Board, that are not elected, that requires residency. So it's not a ballot provision there. Advisory committees are created by the council, and it can determine its membership. If the ordinances, again, I just want to clarify which ones are statutorily created versus advisory to the council. What I'm going to ask the legal counsel is just clarification of, do they have to be resident? And if, for example, if they do not have, if they don't vote on the commit, on any advisory committee, because it's a fine line. You still comply and you're still an official committee, much less, because you have to keep minutes, you have to keep records, you have to do everything as if you're a full committee. But if it's advisory, what role can a non-citizen? That's why we used to have staff members on the committees, and we took all staff members off because we shouldn't have votes because we don't live in the community, any of us. So that's the difference. I just want to clarify, it's not the ballot situation, because there are non-elected boards that cannot have, that has to require residency too.
Okay. So, where do we stand? We all know Mike. I think Mike would be he's a great asset to this particular thing, and I certainly would not vote to not have him on the board. But we also have another situation for something that I have coming up, where that person he's a new resident in Newmarket, and he's not registered at the moment. He'll probably be registered by the next town meeting that we have. So it won't be an issue then, but it is an issue that I think we need to resolve.
That's when our rules required you to be a registered voter. It doesn't say what community.
Okay.
Just as a registered voter. Usually that is a different way to say you have to be a United States citizen. It's being a registered voter.
Okay.
But I'll ask legal counsel for clarification.
Is there anything that would or should prevent the acceptance of this application today?
According to our rules, it does not say a citizen of the town of Newmarket. It
Okay.
says a registered voter and a citizen of the United States. So, he complies with both of those. And I think the caveat there is too, this is just an advisory committee. It's not
Okay.
setting any policies or making any decisions that can impact something else independently. Example, zoning board can make a decision on a property value. Conservation Commission can make decisions. And those are all statutorily created, but this one, the council's just asking for advice on transportation.
Okay. Any other discussion? Councilor Dornbler.
I think it would make sense for the council to take the decision to allow specifically non-residents to serve on advisory boards, in order to, state that and make it clear. If that's something that the council wants to encourage, especially of local business owners or property owners. So in this case, since we don't have an explicit prohibition, and it is an advisory board without policy-making capacity, and any decisions that were to be taken as a result of the work of the Transportation Committee would be taken by the council. I think the decision-making would still be in the realm of Newmarket residents, and therefore we shouldn't worry too much about this situation. Although I do believe that because it's a question that arises, we should explicitly state that we welcome participation of the kind that Mr. Hoffman is offering.
Come in.
Councilor Mahina brought up the fact also of students serving on committees. A lot of communities allow students and non-residents serve, they just can't vote. So if you're not a resident of the community, you can't vote to impact any outcomes, but you can still participate in the discussion and the debate. But that's something, I'll just get clarification on the rules and
Okay.
the council.
Excellent. Any other discussion?
See the problems you caused?
Okay. Seeing none, if you can call the roll.
Council Glazebrook?
Aye.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornblue?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Item 7 on our agenda. At this time, it's time for the report of the town manager. So with that, I will turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I just want to give an update on fiscal year 24, which ended on June 30th. Please note that what I'm saying is unaudited, so these numbers could change. As June ends, marking the end of the fiscal year, we have 92% of our operating budget remaining, leaving around $1.26 million. This figure is subject to change with more invoices pending. This is slightly more than was left at last year at 9%, or slightly more was left last year at 9% of $1.4 million. Departments exceeding their budgets this year include fire and rescue and unusually direct assistance. We haven't seen direct assistance go over budget since I've been here. So for those who don't know, direct assistance is welfare. That's something to keep our eyes on. Just to provide some charts to the council. Regarding revenues, we concluded with about $653,000 over budget. This is nearly $3.5 million above our previous year's numbers. We budgeted higher because we anticipated more revenues. The rise is attributed to extra state aid and higher interest earnings on our investments, which is again something we haven't said in many, many years. We used to have, I can remember the years of the Great Recession when one year we made, in the community, we made $200,000 worth of interest on investments. The next year we made 12. So
12,000 or $12?
12,000.
Okay.
So not that bad, but it's interesting to see that. So I just wanted to let you know that's where we're looking for the year end. On the flip side, July signifies the start of the fiscal year 25. The expense report may appear elevated at the year's outset. However, this accounts for substantial costs such as health and workers' comp that are one time and allocations to capital reserve funds. We just transferred them all over in July, so that's why it looks like a big spike at the beginning. And to go with that, we have begun fiscal year actually 26. The budget process for fiscal year 26 has started, with community development kicking off the capital improvement plan process and finance distributing the budget worksheets to department head. We should receive both in my office in the middle of September. Following this, I plan to present my budget to the town council by October 15th, which is required by the town charter. And I have scheduled our budget workshop session for Saturday, October 26th at 9 a.m., as we've traditionally done it on a Saturday. To go along with the capital improvement process, I'm going to be asking the council what they wish to do, and I'm not asking tonight, so just so you can think about it, with regarding the facility study and next steps. I'm not planning on including anything in this coming budget, but I just don't want to have a document sitting on a shelf. So, just to get the council thinking about that. Next item, I'm happy to say that we've heard from Senator Shaheen's office and that they've included $353,000 for the town dispatch center upgrades in the Senate appropriation bill through congressionally directed spending. While this development is positive, just note that it can constitute merely a single step in the series of actions required for the project to receive funding. It does not constitute permission to expend funds, so we can't do that yet. The appropriations bills must still be approved by the entire Senate, reconciled with the House, and followed by final adoption by both legislative bodies. Currently, the prospects for enacting a comprehensive spending package for fiscal year 25 are quite uncertain because there's an election going on if you didn't know. So we'll have to wait to see, but it's really good news to be included, especially at that amount. The next item is one of the town council's goals for the current fiscal year was to improve communications with the public. With the reduction in coverage in print media, many communities now employ an individual to assist with this. As I mentioned before, I'm proposing a new part-time position that would assist us with this called communications specialist. This role involves working with myself and the media services manager to provide recommendations on internal and external communications and public relations. The job necessitates an understanding of public relations, communication strategy, and visual design, along with technical insights into various displays, which means social media. It includes developing and delivering communications and public materials to promote the town's services, initiatives, and departments. I am suggesting allocating funds for the position for the economic development budget, which currently has $30,000. Moreover, one thing is this is probably one of our first majority remote positions in the town. One, we don't have a lot of office space for the individual. Two, it's not necessary for them to be in all the time, especially being part-time, and they just can meet with departments. I did include a draft job description in the report, and I would hope to fill this by mid-year to the beginning of the next calendar year. One of the things I've heard since I've been here is a significant concern that ceased curbside collections of certain large waste items many years ago. This service was discontinued due to its expensive and potential hazards associated with the materials collected. The Public Works Director and Town Engineer and I are in the process of reintroducing a revamped version of the service. Our plan is inspired by successful initiatives seen in other towns where residents can buy stickers and arrange a pickup time. We intend to implement this on a biannual basis. Our goal is to finalize the policy this fall so we can initiate the first pickup in the following spring. You hear about it in a lot of communities. People put a mattress on the side of the road, they come into the town hall, they pay X amount of money, we put their name down, they stick it on the mattress, we can pick it up. Okay. So our intent is to cover the cost, plus offer that for individuals who could not bring something down to the transfer station on their own.
Okay.
The next final item in my written report is we have heard from the judge regarding Mr. Clay's appeal in the decision in the Clay versus the town. The judge upheld his previous decision and agreed to our $15,219 in attorney fees. The collection of these fees will be on hold until Mr. Clay exhausts all his appeals opportunities. He has indicated that he will appeal to the New Hampshire Supreme Court. I will let the council know, I believe you're on an email from him recently, that he has begun filing right-to-know requests in numerous municipalities. I've heard it from my colleagues, and if they do, with the option of receiving $25,000 payment, if they want the request to go away. That's all I know. So I did say sorry. That problem is now yours, but just want to let the council be aware of that. A few things on my unwritten report. I just want to commend the rec department and everybody involved for the backyard bash. Once again, threw us a curveball in the middle of it with a storm coming through, but everybody was able to pivot, and it turned out to be a great event. So congratulations on that. Finally, Councilor Mattina asked a few questions of me. One, that what do we need to do to move forward to the Charter Commission? That's simple. We just need to pass a resolution and place the question on the ballot in March. And then the Charter Commission would have a special election shortly after, and they'd have to file a report by the end of the following year, with the questions going back on the ballot in 2026 to amend the charter again. If I know that's one of the goals of the council, so it would be my intention to submit that as a resolution shortly before the end of the calendar year, so we can get moving on that. There was a discussion, Councilor Lampetina asked me, because a resident posted on Facebook, about where does septic money go from, because we are having more septic money. As council is aware, septic is part of water and sewer enterprise funds, so any enterprise funds go back into that fund. So any additional revenues from the septic collection goes back into the sewer fund, which is why, that's why that fund is also paying for any improvements there. So I just wanted to answer those questions. And that's all I have tonight, Madam Chair.
Excellent. Any questions? Councillor Gleisberg.
All right. I believe that for this, the previous budget, the direct assistance, we lowered their budget because they hadn't used all of the money the previous year. Is that right?
I have to bring up the budget. I don't have the budget in front of me.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Do you happen to know how much over they went?
You can find that. It should be in my report online. Backup is not in there. I apologize. I will send the backup. The backup for the budget finance report should have been in my report.
All right, thank
I
you.
will find that.
Any other questions or comments for the town manager? Oh, Councillor Ward.
I know we had talked about the street by Crack Skulls potentially changing the one way to make it, and is there any talk about that? Or
We are still discussing that.
Okay.
I have driven it. I don't know how we could fit in a second parking space.
Yeah.
But changing the direction, I talked to the public works director, the chief of police, the planner, the town engineer. We just have to get a highway safety committee
Okay.
meeting together to review it.
Okay. And just for clarity, and due to the fact that it's a one-way street that comes down between Crack Skulls and Wing It, a lot of people end up going the wrong way up it, and it's so narrow that it's hard to put up signage without getting knocked down. So we're looking into the potential of just flipping the one way around so it will go up the hill rather than going down the hill, where at the end of that, at the top of the hill, there's more room to put up, signage saying this is one way, and it's easier and so that's just something we're potentially looking into. Just looking into it at the moment.
Any other questions? Councillor Lamatina.
Yeah, I have a question on the communication specialist position. There's 30,000 in that particular budget for the economic development.
That's
and
correct.
Is that what you're proposing to be the salary for that part-time?
I'm just saying that's where I could take it from.
Okay, so it's not a $30,000 position. Do part-timers, do they qualify for benefits as well?
Depending on what benefits you mean.
Health benefits?
No. Vacation time, yes. If they're full-time, part-time.
Okay, nothing that would be
Nope.
an additional,
I mean, Medicare, workers' comp insurance to cover them, but it's municipal. And if I may, we reduced the budget by $600.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I knew there was.
It wasn't significant,
Okay.
and the difference between how much it went over. Of course, I just had it. Just 5,550.
Okay.
So
Okay.
is it huge in the grand scheme of the budget? No, but it's just I'm not worried about the department. I'm worried about the town in general. If more people are
Yeah.
looking for assistance, that's what the red flag is.
Thank you. And any other questions or comments for the town manager? Okay. Seeing none, any questions or comments about this month's department reports? Councillor Ward.
I'm just looking at the one where the resident, after attempting to clear a chipmunk infestation with consumer-grade fireworks, please don't use fireworks to clear out your infestations. That's how things get burnt down. That's all I gotta say.
Percentages are lost.
Yes.
Appreciate that, Councilor Ward. Any other comments on this month's department reports? Okay. Seeing none, we will move into committee reports. Are there any committee reports this evening? Councilor Glazebrook.
Yeah, Arts, Culture, and Tourism Commission met on Wednesday, August 7th. The commission has received a grant from Eversource as part of the Willie House project to create a screen for the utility box, the green utility box that's right next to the tattoo shop. We don't expect to have any plans for that for the unveiling, which will be September 28th of the mural in the park, but there will be something down the road, hopefully, that'll hide that a little bit and make it look a little nicer, because after a long conversation, there's not much that we can do to the box itself. We can't put vinyl on it or anything like that. There has been a photo contest that has been going on in town through the arts, and the winners were just picked at tonight down at the Truffle Show in the park, and I have their names right here. First place was Aaron Reddish. Second was Lizzie Francescini. I hope I said that right. And third would be Julia Peters. So congratulations to those three. And that's all.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Any other committee reports this evening? Quiet month for committees. Okay. Then we will move on to resolutions and ordinances in the second reading. And this evening there are 3. The first is Resolution 2024-2025-1, and that is relating to the town's investment policy. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve that resolution.
I will make the motion.
Excellent. And
Second.
thank you very much. And at this time, I'll turn it over to you, Town Manager, to provide a little context.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are required to annually review and update, if needed, the investment policy pursuant to RSA 41.9. This is all it's doing is reviewing and updating this every year. There are minimal changes just to reflect things with the bank, but nothing of substantial.
Okay. Any questions or discussion on this resolution? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Glazebrook?
Aye.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornblue?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Excellent. And the next resolution for this evening in the second reading is Resolution 2024-2025-2, and that is acceptance of Brialia Circle and Keelty Drive as town roads. At this time, I would accept a motion to approve that resolution.
I will make the motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. And I know that the town engineer has already kind of provided a little bit of context, but are there any questions for the town engineer or discussion on this resolution? Quiet group today. Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Glazebrook?
Aye.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornblue?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
And the final resolution is Resolution 2024-2025-3, and that is adopting the use of Dominion ImageCast Precinct electronic ballot counting device. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve that resolution.
I will make the motion.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
I will second.
Excellent. And at this time, I would invite the town moderator to, if you would, come up and speak to this one.
Sure, thank you. Chris Hawkins, 10 Hawkins Drive, I'm your town and school district moderator. I got very excited hearing that the Charter Commission is coming back because I had a blast the first 2 times I served on it. So the current machine, the AccuVote machine, is being phased out. It's obsolete, it's not going to be supported any longer. So the state, it seems like it's been going on forever, has been auditioning replacement machines. Terry and I attended a session at the State House year and a half, 2 years ago, to look at 3 potential replacements. The Ballot Law Commission ultimately approved 2 of them. One is the ImageCast machine, which is manufactured by Dominion Voting Systems and is supported by LHS, which is our longtime voting systems vendor. They're based in Salem, New Hampshire. The other one is the Voting Works machine, which is a brand new machine put out by a nonprofit. It uses open source software. It has some nifty gee-whiz technology. It has not been widely adopted. After a lot of analysis, which I presented to the council around this time last year, if I remember right, we decided to go with the ImageCast machine primarily because of the excellent support that we get from LHS. They're a known quantity. Voting Works at this point runs very thin in terms of their support. There's like 15 people in the whole organization nationwide. And we just didn't feel like it was sensible to be on the bleeding edge. So we are recommending the use of the ImageCast machine. It will be implemented after the first of the year. It's not yet been finally approved by the Ballot Law Commission, but they anticipate, and we anticipate that it will be, and we're at this point considering rolling it out at the municipal elections in March to kind of ease people into seeing it. It will scan, you'll have a PDF scan of each ballot, and it has some things where it will automatically identify write-ins, and we'll be able to add them to the actual tally tape and do other things. So it's a better system, more modern system, larger box, and more secure in terms of the ability to access it. So it checks all the boxes, and this is why we're recommending it at this time.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the town moderator or discussions on this resolution? I had a couple questions.
Certainly.
So if LHS has been servicing the old voting machine for years and years and years, why is it that they're no longer going to support it? Is it just the lack of availability of parts?
It's no longer being manufactured, hasn't been manufactured in a long time.
Okay.
And there's no parts for it, so they get cannibalized.
Sorry.
And there's no, we asked, is there a secondary market? Is anybody else interested in buying this thing? The answer is no, they're basically junk at this point. We've also had issues over the years with the thing, particularly inside the box there's a shunt. So if there's a write-in, it will shunt it over to one side, and if there's not, it'll shunt it over to the other, and that gets a little bit wonky. And that's when you sometimes see me crawling up inside the machine and pulling the ballots out, because that gets jammed up. It's just mechanically very out of date. It goes back, it's based on like Windows XP, so it's the technology, the microchip, you're talking about 25, 30-year-old technology, and it's very, very out of date, and it's just not worth it for them to support it, so it's finally being replaced. I should also mention that there's grant money being made available to offset half the cost.
Okay.
And part of the reason why we're asking the council to act on this is so, A, we can order a machine and get in line for getting one, and B, get in line as early as possible to get the grant money, apply for the grant money and offset half the cost. We anticipate the estimated cost, I think, is $7,000 or $8,000, Steve?
Yeah.
Something in that range. I think $3,500 is the available grant offset. So, and we think you'll end up with a machine that produces more transparency, because the actual images of the ballots will be available, and it'll just be better. It's a larger box. I'll spend less time crawling up inside it to clear it and do things like that. So I'm getting a little bit fat to do that stuff.
Okay.
So.
When you say images of the ballots are available, does that mean after the election's done, we seal all the ballots that go to the Secretary of State's office? If for some reason somebody says, I'd like to see the ballots after that fact, do we provide them with a PDF?
This is all subject, this is part of what the ballot law commission is working on.
Okay,
It's
that's what I was
exactly
curious.
what's gonna happen. They tell us
Yeah.
what we can and can't do. All I know is that the machine is capable of producing an image of the ballots.
Yeah.
But ultimately, all that stuff, I wanna make clear to people, the ballot law commission decides that, not your town moderator or the town council or anybody else. So they tell us what we can and can't do.
And then, thank you. I appreciate that clarity. I have one other question. One of the things that you mentioned about this particular machine is that it will increase the security
Yeah.
a fair bit. How does it do that?
It's gonna have
Why
a
is this machine
two-key
more secure?
system. So it's gonna have a two-key system with magnetically coated keys in order to access the functions of the machine. So it'll, as it stands now, there's one, if I wasn't standing there, if someone wasn't standing there, there's one kind of, I think it was like the key to a filing cabinet. Like you could jimmy it if you really wanted to. It'd be really hard to do that with me standing there. But this is much more kind of advanced security features, I
Okay.
should say. So in that respect, it is more secure. It is not going to be connected or connectable to the internet. That's an absolute requirement of the Ballot Law Commission. So not security in that sense, but to physically access the machine is going to be a more elaborate and more secure process.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Any other questions or discussion on this resolution? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll, please.
Counselor Blaisbrook.
Aye.
Counselor Martina.
Aye.
Counselor Dornbluth.
Aye.
Counselor White.
Aye.
Counselor Ward.
Aye.
Counselor Conlon.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. And that is the last, resolution in the second reading. We're now moving on to resolutions and ordinances in the first reading. And this evening, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So buckle in. All right. The first resolution in the first reading is Resolution 2024-2025-4, the annual lease payment for 2 international dump trucks with plow equipment. Whereas the Public Works Department is paying for 2 dump trucks with plow equipment through a lease agreement with Tax-Exempt Leasing Corporation, and whereas the annual payment for the 2 dump trucks is $50,783.97 to be paid using the Public Works Department Capital Reserve account, and whereas the Public Works Department Capital Reserve Fund has a balance of $203,372.57 as of July 1st, 2024, now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the town manager is authorized to pay the tax-exempt Leasing Corp annual invoice for the 2 international dump trucks with plow equipment for $50,783.97 due August 15, 2024, with funds from the Public Works Department Capital Reserve Fund. Sponsored by Chair Conley by request. First reading, August 21st, 2024. And the next resolution in the first reading is Resolution 2024-2025-5, annual lease payment for the trackless MT7 sidewalk tractor. Whereas the Public Works Department is paying for the trackless MT7 sidewalk tractor through a lease agreement with Tax-Exempt Leasing Corporation, and whereas the annual payment for the trackless MT7 sidewalk tractor, sorry, saying that 10 times fast, is $33,765.20 to be paid using the Public Works Department Capital Reserve account, and whereas the Public Works Department Capital Reserve Fund has a balance of $203,372.57 as of July 1st, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the town manager is authorized to pay the tax-exempt leasing corporation annual invoice for the trackless MT7 sidewalk tractor for $33,765.20 due August 25th, 2024, with funds from the Public Works Department Capital Reserve Fund. Sponsored by Chair Conley by request. First reading, August 21st, 2024. And the third resolution in the first reading this evening is Resolution 2024-2025-6, annual lease payment for Engine 5. Whereas the fire department is paying for Engine 5 through a lease agreement with Tax Exempt Leasing Corporation, and whereas the annual payment for Engine 5 is $42,449.47 to be paid using the fire department capital reserve account, and whereas the fire department capital reserve fund has a balance of $146,403.92 as of July 1st, 2024, now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the town manager is authorized to pay the Tax Exempt Leasing Corporation annual invoice for Engine 5 for $42,449.47 due November 2024 with funds from the Fire Department Capital Reserve Fund. Sponsored by Chair Conley by request. First reading, August 21st, 2024. And the next resolution in the first reading is Resolution 2024-2025-7, the purchase of Stryker Power Pro cot and 2 power load systems. Whereas the fire department needs to replace one of the Stryker Power Pro cots and would like to upgrade both ambulances to the power load systems, and whereas the department obtained a sole source quote from Stryker for one Power Pro cot with 2 power loads for $101,711.86, and whereas the ambulance revolving fund has a balance of $142,793.54 as of July 1st, 2024, now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the council authorizes the release of $101,711.80 from the ambulance revolving fund for the purchase of 1 Power Pro cot and 2 power loads from Stryker. I will, in the interim between this meeting and the next one, find out what both those things are.
Stretcher.
Thank you. Okay. Next resolution in the first reading, Resolution 2024-2025-8, paving improvements. Whereas the town has extended the paving contract with Bell & Flynn LLC for another year, and whereas the following roads are on the road management plan schedule for this year, Brialia Circle, Kilty Drive, Stonewall Way, and Winslow Drive, and whereas the town budgeted $200,000 toward this expenditure in the operating budget and an additional $200,000 is available in the Municipal Transportation Fund to fund the road management plan that was adopted, the Municipal Transportation Fund has a balance of $224,465 as of July 1st, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the town manager may enter into any agreements with Bell & Flynn LLC with a dollar amount not to exceed $400,000, with $200,000 coming from the operating budget and $200,000 coming from the Municipal Transportation Fund. And the final resolution in the first reading this evening is Resolution 2024-2025-9, the purchase of 2 Ford trucks. Whereas the Public Works Department needs to replace a Ford F-150 and a Ford F-350 truck, and whereas the department obtained state bid quotes for a new Ford F-150 and F-350 from McFarland Ford for $38,970 and $51,060 for a total of $90,030, and whereas the Public Works Capital Reserve Fund has a balance of $203,372 as of July 1st, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the town manager is authorized to purchase 1 Ford F-150 and 1 Ford F-350 from McFarland Ford for a price not to exceed $90,030. Sponsored by Chair Conley by request. First reading August 21st, 2024. Okay.
Yep, I just started that.
All right. Need a drink of water after that. All right, the next item on the agenda is new business and correspondence. Is there any correspondence to the town council this
There is
evening?
none.
Okay, and then we'll move on to, are there any closing comments by town councilors this evening? Councilor Lamatina.
Yeah. Okay, not to beat a dead horse, but one of the other things that I asked the town manager to look into is on the application form that we probably have for committees. It also states that you have to be a U.S. citizen. I can see a number of situations where somebody may not be a U.S. citizen, but their input to an advisory committee would be very valuable. Can we somehow look into also addressing that issue?
Yeah, and as I said, from my experience, they usually cannot be voting members, but can be participating.
Another thing that I asked the town manager about is, it's not easy to get information about past resolutions. I've asked him if he can create some kind of an index or a searchable database for the council to, when we do some research about past resolutions, if we could have some kind of a searchable database.
We did find there is a Word document that has every resolution passed since 1991, when we were became a town council form of government. I'm trying to make it a simpler document for people to use by either put in Excel or some other way, but it's difficult with the technology that was started in 1991 until today. Word documents is what we have, so we're working on it.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Medina. Any other closing comments this evening? Councilor Dornbler.
I just want to follow up on a public comment from Patricia Terrio, I believe her name was, last meeting. She was asking whether the Children at Play sign at Pulaski Drive and a dead-end road sign could be placed at the street. I'm wondering if anything has happened in that regard.
It's not a town-owned street.
Oh, dear.
That's why the Public Works Director and Town Engineer met with her immediately after the meeting.
Okay. Any other closing comments by councilors this evening? Okay.
But hang on, I have just one follow-up, if I may.
Okay, of course.
Since it's not a public street, and the street the sign, could the dead-end sign, street sign, be placed on the public right-of-way?
We traditionally do not fund private street signs.
Well, it wouldn't be a private street sign.
It's on a private street. It's technically, while it has a street name.
Is it
because
a driveway?
It's a driveway.
Ah.
Because it has more than one address on it, you can't call it just a driveway, you have to give it a street name, but it's a private street, which they maintain. They have to put up the determination on those items. So, I believe it's the Cheney Corporation that owns
Yeah.
it, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dornbler. Any last comments, closing comments by councilors this evening? Okay. Seeing none, the next meeting is September 4th, 2024. We are back to 2 meetings a month. And if there are no objections, I will consider us adjourned. Thank you very much, councilors.
Thank you.